Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Yeah, I'm joined with fellow author Nicole Brown. Nicole, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on. It's such an honor and privilege.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the conversation. I always love getting other authors on the show to just kind of talk about the creative process and what it's like, to do that and kind of share those stories. So, before we get started, though, just introduce yourself in your own words. Who is Nicole today?
I'm a native of Monroe, Louisiana. Um, I'm the youngest of seven kids, so that kind of brought out my gift of writing because a lot, with nine people older than you in the household, um, you had nine. I had nine people always telling me what to do and not wanting my input. So, when I did get tired of them telling me everything they wanted me to hear, and they weren't hearing my side or what I wanted them to do. And I kept telling people about it, and they weren't doing nothing. So I started writing it down. And they were like, she punched us, she beat us up with these words. So basically, uh, that's how I started writing because then too I was shy by nature, but I could always sing in front of people with more ease than speaking, but I'm getting much better now because I am an author and I have to talk about my books and my dad inspired me a lot. And my brother, one of my next oldest brother, they're both deceased, but they both uh my dad, he called me a ghetto nerd because I could make a song out of anything. And he really did. And my brother, he was just, he was the only one that really said this to me. He died recently, and my dad too. And he would always say, Nikki, you do everything from your heart, but you really, really write from your heart. Like, so, and he kept saying it. I have a strong idea that you're gonna make it big with this writing because you really write from your heart.
Yeah, I love that. So when you first started writing, when you were younger, because I actually wrote a lot when I was younger as well, but I don't know that when I was younger, I was really aspiring to be an author. I never thought that I would actually get to a point where, I've published three books now, working on my fourth, um, until later in life. I mean, at what point did you realize that, you know, part of your gift was to become a published author?
Well, I kind of, took a lot of creative writing classes in high school and stuff. And then, I was kind of already discovered at an early age, but I kind of didn't want to do it after I had one bad experience with a teacher being diversity challenged. And I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was just like, whatever I study in college, I'm going to use, math and science because either the question is going to be right or wrong. So I really wanted to be a pharmacist. I really never desired to be a teacher. And like I said, as far as writing, I was just like, it's something that I'm good at, but it was not nothing that I really, thought I could make a living from. But I didn't get into pharmacy school, so I became a teacher, and then I had a lot of bad experiences as a teacher from the start. But I was still writing on the side, like as far as a hobby, to get my thoughts out, and even to do things with as far as teaching. I was teaching with poetry, I was teaching with making songs and stuff like that because I wanted it to make learning fun and to trick my little babies or my students into learning because you can't just be up there a teacher for the book and really think you're gonna reach the whole class. You're not. You may not even reach the whole class doing learning songs and poems and stuff like that. But I tried to do some of everything, even with the gifts that I didn't have. Like a lot of my students drew, they were artists. So I was like, draw this. I would give a lot of options as far as learning a concept, and I would try to pull out of my student skills. And I don't think a lot of people liked it. And I was discredited because part of my personal life was leaking into my professional life. And I didn't even realize it until 2014 because I was working so hard trying to make myself better, make my life better, and make the students' lives better because I didn't have that, have all of that as a student. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And when I kept having those unpleasant experiences, it just pushed me to write. And then I was in a relationship with a guy that really took care of me, and it was not pleasing to the world. And I got out of that situation and I wrote because I was only really thinking of it as, I need a little extra money. So if I write these books, I might have maybe $500 or $600 extra coming in a month. But when I started writing the books, man, situations really got worse. I was like, wow. So I was just like, I was losing jobs left and right after I become an author. And and not realizing in 2014 that I was really being discredited for not knowing anything at all. You know what I'm saying? Not even knowing that we breathe in carbon dioxide. I mean, we breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, just anything. They didn't really even believe that I knew anything about the plot of the cat in the hat, and I just I had a degree in chemistry. So and then and I really got shit at the worst when I came back home from Baton Rouge, Louisiana with 7 books on my back. So it was just, I guess I was just destined to be one, even though I was just wanted to teach the class.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. It's a great story. How so when did you publish your first book? Was it
I,
2014?
I published my first book. No, I published my first book in 2009.
Okay.
hmm I published my first book 5 months after I quit a guy, quit a guy. And then after that, I just kept on rolling with it because I was determined to be able to be self-sufficient and take care of myself, you know.
Yeah.
So by the end of that school year, I had 7 books. And a family member that was also in the school system, she sold me out. She sold me out for a $50,000 job. She, you know, um, conspired against me with a school district in Baton Rouge, a school district in Monroe, for them to literally kill me in the school.
Hmm.
And she got promoted, promotion after promotion for that, which is sad because I love her to death.
Yeah. So did you are your books self-published or are you working
Yeah,
with a publisher?
they're self published. I have 15 books now.
And every single one of them's been self-published.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's funny when I first started writing, I kind of had this aspirations thinking that, you know, I wouldn't be a real author unless I was actually, published through a publisher. Um,
hmm
and I did end up my first 2 books, the reprint of my first book and my second book, I did work with a publisher and it was an awful experience. And I just self-published my third book and I ended up pulling my intellectual property back from my original publisher, my first 2 books, and republished them independently. And it's definitely, at this point, anytime I'm talking to an aspiring author, I'm like, just go and self-publish because the publisher is not going to do a whole lot for you. They're not really going to do anything for you. It's all, it's all on you to do the marketing and that sort of stuff. So tell me why you enjoy independently publishing, self-publishing over, you know, the possibility of
Well,
working with a publisher.
I had a friend that um that had a harsh experience similar to yours with a publisher. They said, they looked at her manuscript and they said that it wasn't good. And then they turned around and gave her manuscript to another writer. And luckily she had it copywritten before that before it was published under the other person's name. So she had to go through a legal battle. That was one reason, that a friend experienced that, a fellow author. And then another reason is I didn't want my stuff watered down. I wanted my heart to flow on my pages because some people, may be offended by some things that I say, but then some people don't. So I would say it like this, even when my sisters and brothers was reading this stuff, who you talking about? And I'm like, if the shoe fit, wear it.
Yeah, and I think the creative control of self-publishing is one of the biggest assets for sure. Because like you said, I mean, I send all my stuff off to an editor, but we've got a great relationship. She's not trying to change my words. She's really looking at, grammatical and, stuff like that for me. And everything that she suggests, she tells me right out of the gate, like, this is simply a suggestion. At the end of the day, you still have creative control whether or not you want to use my suggestion or keep it the way you originally wrote it. So, I mean, I'm grateful to have a great working relationship like that with my editor. But I think creative control is such an important concept. And even when you look at music industry, the way things are, independent artists, even artists have been with big record labels are pulling back and starting to do their stuff independently because again they have that creative control. I mean, anytime you're driven by a corporation or something like that, they're going to look to have that control of your work. And I think as a creative artist like that, it's so important to be able to express yourself the way you want to express. So kind of seems as though you're thinking along those same lines as why you're just going to continue to self-publish and not look at going into the realm of working with a publisher anytime soon.
That's a well articulated point. And then I also looked at it where people were actually publishing, they would have to make their book cost more, than if you would have we would do it and it was self-published. Because I know a lot of people that went through a publisher and they may have like a 200-page book and it's $15. Um, and I have like a 200-page book and it might be like 12, 10, or 13 because there's no, middleman.
Right. Right. So let me talk a little bit about the creative process. I'm always interested to hear from other writers, how that creative process comes to you. I know, like for me, I often tell people that um, I don't find the creativity finds me. That's just kind of the way I work. So I'd like to hear how it works with other authors. I mean, do you schedule times to write, or do you find that there's times where literally you have to write?
Well, sometimes I find time to write, but most of the time it's like spontaneous. Sometimes I, get in a mood or I hear a song or I'm outside in nature or I'm just, shooting the breeze or sometimes it's just urgent. Like sometimes it's things that I don't want to write about and I'll go to sleep on it and I get up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep until I finish writing it.
Yeah.
That has, especially when I first started writing, and when I was in Baton Rouge, it was a lot of times that I didn't sleep at night at all because I was just writing, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely something I can relate to. Um, my first book I probably wrote mostly between the hours about 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. Um, at various times for sure. So it's definitely interesting. I love hearing how it works for other authors, how they actually tap into that creativity. Um, so you've published 15 books so far. Obviously, you're not looking to stop writing anytime soon. What's on tap for the future for you?
Well, it's some books that I didn't finish because when I got on Exile in Mississippi, I kind of got discouraged because I got my tail beat big time. The doggone public library when he would take my books. Well, all I'm saying is I have some books that I had started that I haven't finished, and then there's some books that's like in the works right now that I'm just starting. So I I probably got about 6 books that I had started on a long time ago that I didn't finish. And then probably got about 2 or 3 books that's in the works. So I don't know when they're gonna get out. I'm just gonna take my time and if I have the creative urge to push one further than the other one, I will. But right now, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, that so you kind of answered my next question. I was curious as to whether you try to set deadlines for yourself or you just let it. So it sounds like you'll actually be working on multiple projects at the same time. It's a little different than me, where I generally am working on the same project at one time. Although kind of dabbling in a couple different things right now, but it's really kind of focused on one. So, um, what? How do you juggle working on multiple projects at the same time?
Well, it depends on what I'm feeling that day as far as writing on it. I don't push myself to write on one particular book. Whatever I feel in my spirit or feel in my heart to work upon, then that's the one I'm going to work on. And then, later, if I feel, the urge to do it or I just push myself to do it, I go ahead and do that. But most of the time, like I said, I do everything, as far as, how my heart goes.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, about a lot of different things. Is there anything that we missed that you think would be valuable to the listeners, or for anybody out there who might be an aspiring author? Any advice you could give them?
Yeah, don't give up. Expect expect for your circle to become smaller because everybody not gonna support what you do. You know, put your put put your put your hold up your guards. But if you feel like crying, let it go. You know what I'm saying? Because and then too, everybody can't go with you. Even if they do, even if they are your friend, even if they have been your friend since kindergarten, even if it is your sister, even if it is your brother, even if it's your mom, everybody can't go. Everybody not gonna appreciate what what you earn and not gonna treat it in the manner that you were treated because you worked for it. So everybody can't go. And then also as well, let your work speak for you. Don't be always talking about what you're good at and all of that kind of stuff. Let your work speak for you. That's what my mom's always told me. But and then my dad too. Your attitude determines your altitude. That's what my dad told me. You have a messed up attitude. It could be a straight A student or just a great writer altogether. But you're not gonna go that far. You got a messed up attitude because people are not gonna work with you. And he also said this too. Even if you have a good attitude, a lot of people ain't gonna want to work with you because your good attitude make them look bad, and they gonna try to throw their negative feelings about themselves upon you because you coming in there chirping, you doing what you're supposed to do and loving on everybody, but you can't worry about that either. You just got to keep loving them because eventually keep loving them and keep working them because eventually they're gonna get showed up.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Nicole, how do people find you? How do they get, if they're interested in looking at any of your books, where do they find you at on the internet?
Oh wow. That it's a lot of places. I get on sometimes and look my name up and I'm amazed. I'm like, wow. But anyway, my books are on Amazon, Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, Eight Books, Power Books, the Harvard Bookstore, you name it, is there. They're in bookstores in Nigeria, Norway, Portugal. Wow, it's just, places that I haven't gone before, it's there. And also, if you can't remember that, you can put my name in a Google search, Nicole S. Brown, and you'll be able to find my face in all of my books.
Cool. Do you have a personal website as well, or just everything through?
Yes, I do. I also have a personal website. It's poetryatbest.etsy.com or author Nicole S. Brown.yolasite.com. And I'll say that again. It's poetryatbest.etsy.com or author Nicole S. Brown.yolasite.com.
Awesome. Love it. Nicole, that brings us to our final question. As you know, the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, which comes from the opening lyrics of the Michael Franti song Gloria, which go, when many little people in many little places do many little things, and the whole world changes. So it's one of the little things that Nicole does on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better place.
Well, I like to treat the little people and the big people and in between people the way that they want to be, the way that I want to be treated, whether they treat me that way or not. Because I think about this song, and even when you were saying that song, I think about Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red, yellow, black, and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. So I treat them, the way, because everybody is God, the creator's creation. So we should treat people like we treat the creator himself, because we don't see him. We see what he made every day. You know what I'm saying? And the way that we treat other people is a true depiction of who we are and who we say that we believe in. So even when I was in a classroom as a teacher, I loved on little babies. Even if they treated me the worst. Because at the end of the day, I gotta answer, I gotta be held accountable, not just for that job, at that job. But when I go and meet the creator himself, I got to be accountable for every little student that I ever came into contact with, every little post office man, whoever I ever came into contact with. A lot of people don't look at it that way when they're on the job, but I do. So, in every situation, and even when you can't apologize to the person, you still need to, apologize to the creator on that person's behalf, because and then if you come across that person again and you wrong them and you know you did, speak up and apologize. Even if you have to write it down on a piece of paper, and give it to them, at least do that. So that's how I do it. I try to anyway.
Great answer. Love it. Cole, thank you so much for your time. Again, I love having fellow authors on the show, just being able to kind of compare notes and, be able to reach people who are looking to become authors themselves and give them a little bit of advice as to how it works. I really do appreciate your time. For folks out there listening, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com while you're there, pick up a copy of one of my books. And again, Nicole, thank you so much for the time. This is a really fun conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. You be blessed. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. That's what I say to everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that.